everyone, my name is Tracy and I enjoy making whimsical watercolor paintings that everyone can enjoy and that they can take an attempt at. I'm pretty confident that once you set your mind to do something that you can achieve it if you persist. So today I don't really have a plan for a house or any set painting. It's been a week, so, and I'm sure you all have those kind of weeks and those kind of days and those kind of hours. So I just want to do some relaxing watercolor. I haven't painted anything this week, so I want to just get my toes back into painting and do some fun, relaxing watercolor exercises, if you want to call them that. But this is just a no pressure watercolor piece. So I'm going to dip my brush in the water and I'm going to just fill up my palette here with some colors. I already laid out some yellow and some blue. So this is lemon, like a lemon yellow, and this is a cobalt blue, and I have permanent red as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some clear water and I'm just going to lay a shape down on the page. This is like an oval shape. And we're going to be doing a wet on wet technique. So I have clear water on my page and I'm just going to drop some blue into it. Roughly where my shape is. And I think I want to leave that one blue. The next one I'm going to do some color mixing with. So I'm going to clean my brush and I'm going to put another shape, oval shape, down next to it. And this one we will drop in some more blue on one side. And you can make this as pigmented or diluted as you want. I'm sort of going for a pastel look, so I'm just going to drop some yellow in on the other side and we'll see what happens here. This is not watercolor paper. This is a mixed media book that can accommodate watercolor because I've placed watercolor in it before, but I don't do it very heavy with the water because otherwise it will totally buckle the paper. All right, so where the yellow is blending into the blue here, we're going to get some green, which is what I was anticipating because yellow and blue make green. And then this next one, I'm just going to put down the yellow straight from my brush. I'll add a little bit more water to that. I'm going to leave that white part there. And then I'm going to get some darker blue here and drop that in and see what happens. I want to add a little bit more to the top of this one here. Doesn't have quite as much contrast as I would like. So I think I'm just going to use my two colors today, the yellow and the blue, and then I will mix those together to get a green to make this more cohesive, if that was something that we were interested in. So I'm mixing my yellow and my blue together, and then I'm going to wet my paper. Because my brush was still not entirely clean, you'll see a little bit of green there, and then we're going to just drop some more green in here. And a little bit more of the blue. Maybe a bit more of the yellow here also. So this is going to be a darker green here. I'm more just doing like an exercise in color mixing. Just practice. These could be warm-up exercises also. If you don't want to dive into a painting right away, then you can do these kind of exercises just to build your skills a little bit more. Actually, that's a nice circle. I'm going to leave that like that. And do one more here. Fill that in. Some yellow down. Some more blue. Oh, I like the way that's bleeding right into that. That's feathering out quite nicely. And we'll do... That was an interesting kind of swirl going on there. It almost reminds me of like a marble. Just gonna blend that out a little bit there. And we'll do a few more. And one here. Gonna put some more water in the center of that one. I have too much water there. It's pooling on the paper. If this was watercolor paper, it would behave a little bit better, but that's buckling right there now. So I'm not going to add any more water to it. Just add some more paint. I'll dry my brush off there. Maybe I'll just dip some blue paint in directly from my watercolor pan. Make an eyeball. Or something that looks like an eyeball. Alrighty. Got a little bit of blue here. Just to tie it in a bit better. And add a little bit up here. So because I didn't paint it in right away, I get to see what happens, how long my paint will accept another wet paint on the top of it before it starts to cauliflower. If I were to drop a drop of water on this one here, it will more than likely do a cauliflower right as it start, because the paint is more dry than anything else on the paper. And as you can see, it's doing a cauliflower here, and it will do a cauliflower up here as well. So if you like that kind of effect, that can be useful in some types of paintings, but you want to be aware of just maybe how far along your paints are drying before you add any more wet to it, because then you'll be getting these kind of effects. So there's sort of a cutoff point where you want to wait until it dries completely before you add more paint to it. Okay, I'm going to do one more here, just yellow directly. And water that down some, smooth out those edges, and then we'll add some green to it. Not entirely on the edge. We'll see what happens if we go in from the edge. Add a bit more. Okay, I'm gonna let those dry. If you wanted to, you could also do like a spatter effect. I just tap my brush against my finger, or I'll just tap it like this. but I find I have a little bit more control when I do it this way. And you can do that into wet paint as well. But you really notice the spattery effect when it's on dry paper or dry paint. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry. I'm gonna come back with some black and some white pens. Now that our painting is dry, we're just gonna add some black ink marks to it and some white highlights. Still not sure what these are going to be, if anything. I may just do an abstract line work on them just to add to their interest. I thought about maybe some whimsical birds, but then the beaks and stuff wouldn't quite work with these shapes. They're a bit too close together. So I'm just gonna add some lines to it and we'll see where that goes. So I'm gonna add outline to it. This one has a little bit of that cauliflower that we spoke about earlier. And I'm going to add outlines to all of these. And I'm not going to be too careful about whether it follows the edge exactly or not. They can be wobbly. This is just for fun and relaxation. So sometimes the wobblier and the crookeder, the better. If you hear a bunch of hammering and noise in the background, that's our neighbor across the street who's dismantling their backyard deck. And they've also got some music on, so I've had to close my bunky windows so that way I don't violate any copyright if you're hearing certain song on the radio, which is what they're playing. So I've closed the window. It's a little bit warm today, so it's getting warm in here. So I'm gonna make this video not quite as long as I anticipated. All right, so we're just gonna add some lines here. I think I'm just gonna do that to all of them. And I suppose these could have been sort of an egg of some sort also. Or really wonky marbles. I like how this feathered down here. That made a nice mix. So I might just sort of highlight that by going around it. This one's almost like a golden orb. And this one doesn't quite look like an eye anymore, so I don't think I'm going to pursue that line of thought. Just doing this inside. And maybe one more up here. And then you could fill each of these shapes in with different sorts of lines. And then maybe dots as well. If you don't want it to be all lines, you can do a variety of embellishments. And then you could go different sort of lines in different directions here. Like that. And maybe some circles. Some larger circles. And then just the dots. Trying not to make them too uniform, which was happening here 3 in a row. Not sure what to do with that part yet, so I may come back to that. One thing to note is, even though I'm using a permanent black fine liner, this could still potentially smudge if I ran my hand through it if it's not dry yet. So I should have mentioned to start over on this side, work your way over here. So that's what I'm going to do right now. And these are just going to be some straight lines up to a degree. Kind of, it could almost be like a Zentangle sort of drawing. If you happen to know any of those patterns, you could add them to these. And I liked this here, so I think maybe I will break this up a little bit into that, and then I can add some dots to it. Like that. Okay, and then we'll start on this one next, and you could even do like a pattern, so 2 lines and then some dots. And you could do something like that. And I actually like that, so I'm going to do another one down here. And let's do some more dots. We'll vary up the shape here. Make them a little different. And maybe we'll just do a shape like that and continue to follow that until we run out of room. Or I might just put some more dots in there. So there's no rules to this. You just do whatever you might like to fill up these spaces. Go more with another wobbly line here. And do another one of these. Another one over here. Could even just do some blobs inside. Okay, so move that up, and you could do really thin lines for a part of it, or you could even do thin lines for a whole section. Sometimes it's not always so easy to figure out how to fit these in, which is why you can do them slower, and that'll give you some time to think about, okay, how do I want my next line to go? I used to do this sort of thing on a regular basis, and I found it very relaxing. It would help sort of take my mind off of life for a little bit. Okay, so I think that's about it for that section there. And I'm gonna do a few more of these curly things here. They kind of remind me of a snail. Okay, a couple more to go here, and I didn't really want to compromise this section here because I liked the way it looked, so I may just break it up here and put in a few lines over here. And put in a few more of these here. And that might be it for that one. I don't want to do too much there. And let's just try to do a few more squiggly lines here. And do it this way. It's funny, I thought when I'd have this bunkie that the noise during filming would not be that significant. But then I didn't consider that neighbors would be doing outdoor projects on the days that I have off to film. So my apologies for that. Okay, so that's going to be all the black that I'm going to add to that. And then we're just going to do a few white dots and lines and stuff with this Uniposca white acrylic paint pen, size 0.7 millimeters. And the way these work is you just take a piece of paper and you do the, it's possible I might be running out of ink in this one, paint in this one, until it comes out in a decent amount. Okay, so I'm going to add, I don't know, maybe some white dots here. I really don't have a goal for the end result of this. It's more just the painting process itself that has gotten me back into painting and drawing mode, which was my main goal, and loosened up my hand so that way if I did want to do another painting after this, I would be sort of in painting mode. Okay, so I'm going to work from this way to left to right so that way I don't smudge this because they're not dry yet. And I'm going to do this one next. I'm just going to add some white dots here because I think that'll probably look the best. I don't really want to overdo these too much. Could do these lines around it to match that. And some dots. And lines. And some more dots. And a couple more lines. So you won't be able to notice some of these on camera, but you can notice it in real life, so to speak. The white acrylic paint pen does make a difference to help some items of your painting pop. Okay, that's a little better. And if you have a little excess on the piece of paper that you did that on, you can always use that up a little bit. And I think maybe I'll just do a white version of that, almost like a snail shell. It's not really noticeable too much on camera, but it has a nice effect there. Okay, so I'm going to do some dots here and some dots over here. And I think just the odd line here for harmony and unity. Do a bit there. Okay. And here, we'll redo these lines here. And then some dots. And you can even make them trail around your painting if you want. Do a little bit there. I'll just add more of these the way I did up above here. And you can do them in clusters or as a line. I kind of like the speckled effect. And for this last one here, we will do some lines and might just do another one of these light snail shapes and maybe one more here. Okay, so that is it for this non-painting painting. I didn't do anything with this one here. I could actually just add some dots to it too in certain areas just around the edge. And we'll do that in the middle. There we go. I hope you enjoyed this relaxing warm-up exercise. If you enjoyed this painting or any of my other paintings, please like, comment, or subscribe. That helps push my channel out to other viewers just like you who really like this whimsical watercolor thing. I do enjoy hearing from my viewers. I read all of your comments. So if you'd want to drop a hi or a question into the comments, please feel free to do that. I will wish you a world of whimsy, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for joining me today. Bye for now.